New York in winter is both magnificent and cold. The skyscrapers reflect the bright neon lights. The crowd still bustles on Fifth Avenue, wrapped in thick fur coats. The cold wind cuts like a knife, seeping through every small alley, where homeless people huddle under cardboard, shivering for warmth. Daniel Carter, one of the most successful young entrepreneurs in New York, was standing by the window of his luxurious penthouse on the top floor of a skyscraper. He crossed his arms, his eyes coldly looking down at the streets below, where cars lined up in the dark night. At the age of 32, Daniel had a huge fortune in his hands, running the Carter Holdings financial group with thousands of employees under his command. However, in contrast to his huge fortune, his heart was completely empty. To Daniel, love was a luxury and frivolous thing, an unnecessary element in his life. In a dark corner of a nearby street, Olivia Reed pulled her tattered coat tight, trying to hold on to what little warmth she had left. Her long, matted caramel hair fell across her pale face, her deep brown eyes filled with exhaustion and despair. A year ago, Olivia was a wealthy young lady, the only daughter of the Reed family, owners of a famous hotel chain. But a wrong business deal left her family penniless, and her parents died in a mysterious car accident. With no one to help her, no place to go, she quickly became homeless. The cold was worse tonight than the previous nights. Her stomach was churning with hunger, but Olivia had no energy to go looking for food. She had been living on leftover bread from the convenience store for the past few days. Her legs were shaking, her head spinning with exhaustion. She struggled to walk a few more steps, looking up at the luxurious building in front of her, the yellow lights from the main lobby making the place look strangely warm. Olivia wanted to go inside, just to warm up a little, but she knew that was impossible. Dizziness washed over her, her eyes grew heavy. She collapsed right in front of the building, darkness swallowing her. Daniel had just stepped out of the parking lot when he saw the scene. A homeless girl, her clothes torn, was huddled on the sidewalk right in front of his building. Her face was pale, her breathing weak. He frowned, intending to pass by like he had so many times before. This was not an uncommon sight in New York, and Daniel was not in the habit of stopping for things that did not concern him. But something made him pause. Under the yellow streetlights, the girl's face looked strangely fragile, her skin pale as if with just one more gust of wind she would disappear. "Damn," Daniel muttered, feeling an unnamed discomfort creeping into his chest. He bent down, intending to shake her awake. But when he saw her thin hands, purple with cold, a strange urge made him take off his coat and wrap it around her. The warmth from the thick wool quickly spread, but the girl remained motionless. She might freeze to death. Daniel had never been one to care about others, but at this moment, he couldn't leave her alone. For some reason, he sighed and bent down, picking her up with his strong arms. When Daniel entered the lobby of the building, the receptionists and security guards were surprised to see the cold CEO carrying a homeless girl. No one dared to ask, just silently watched him enter the elevator. Daniel's spacious penthouse was on the top floor, with luxurious furnishings and panoramic views of the city. When he placed Olivia on the large bed in the living room, she was still unconscious. Daniel stood still for a moment, looking at the small girl lying on his bed. She was really too thin. Her face was pale, but still had a strange charm. A lock of brown hair fell on her forehead. Daniel unconsciously reached out to brush it away. He suddenly realized his action and immediately withdrew his hand. "Just one night," he muttered, as if to remind himself. Daniel never let anyone into his personal space, but tonight, he broke the rule. For a homeless girl whose name he didn't even know. Inside the magnificent penthouse, the space was filled with warm light from the exquisite crystal chandeliers. Olivia opened her eyes, feeling strangely comfortable under her back. When was the last time she slept in a real bed? She couldn't remember. Looking around, Olivia realized that this was no ordinary apartment. From the luxurious leather sofa to the hand-woven Persian rug to the expensive abstract painting hanging on the wall, everything exuded luxury and power. She suddenly felt like an outcast in this world. Footsteps echoed. Olivia turned and saw Daniel standing in the doorway, arms crossed over his chest. He was wearing a simple white shirt today, but his sharpness and authority were not diminished. Olivia sat up straight, alert. Daniel was a man she had never met before. He was too perfect. The angular face, the neatly combed black hair, the cold gray eyes that seemed to see through everything. He belonged to a world where Olivia had no place. "You're awake." His voice was low and calm, without emotion. "Are you okay?" Olivia tightened the blanket around herself, hesitant. "I'm fine. Thanks for helping me, but I'll be leaving now." She stood up, her legs still a little wobbly. Daniel frowned as he watched her struggle to stand. She was so weak, so thin, so fragile. For a moment, he felt uncomfortable. But not for her, but for himself. Why did he care? "You're not recovered yet." Daniel stood in front of her, his eyes cold. "Where are you going in this condition?" Olivia looked up at him. "Anywhere. This is not my place." Daniel clenched his jaw. Reason told him she was right. But looking into those warm brown eyes, he couldn't help but stare. "Do you have somewhere to go?" he asked, his voice low. Olivia was silent. She didn't want to admit the truth. Daniel crossed his arms and sighed. "I'm not helping you out of pity. I just don't want a dead body in front of my building." Olivia bit her lip, knowing she had no other choice. Daniel continued. "You have a month. I don't like the mess in my house, so during this time you find a job, find a place to live, and then leave." Olivia looked up at him, pride in her eyes. She didn't want to accept this man's help, but she also knew that if she left now, she might not survive the winter. Finally, she nodded slightly. "Just 1 month," she repeated, like a commitment to herself. Daniel nodded. "Good. The guest room is down the hall. You can stay there." With that, he turned and left, leaving Olivia standing in the middle of the large room, her mind in turmoil. The next day, Olivia set out to explore her new home. Daniel's penthouse was not only huge but also soullessly perfect. Everything was rigidly orderly, without a hint of life or warmth. She couldn't sit around doing nothing, nor did she want to feel like a freeloader. So Olivia decided to do the only thing she could: make this place a place with real human warmth. In the morning, while Daniel was at work, Olivia set to work cleaning. The house wasn't a mess. It was too perfect to be cold. She opened the curtains, letting the light in. She rearranged a few things, added some color with fresh flowers bought with the last of her spare change. That night, Olivia decided to cook. She didn't know if Daniel would like it, but at least she could show her gratitude this way. When Daniel got home, he smelled a strange scent. It was no longer the expensive perfume or the deep oak scent of his apartment. It was the smell of hot food. He walked into the kitchen and saw Olivia busy at the stove. "What are you doing?" He frowned. Olivia turned back, a little confused. "I made dinner." Daniel looked at the table. A plate of creamy pasta, crispy garlic bread, and a glass of red wine. He couldn't remember the last time someone had cooked for him. "You don't have to do that," he said, his voice a little lower than usual. Olivia shrugged. "I can't stay here doing nothing, and I don't want to owe you any more." Daniel was silent, then pulled up a chair and sat down. When he tasted the first piece of pasta, he raised his eyebrows slightly. "Not bad," Olivia chuckled. "Then eat. I won't poison you." Daniel said nothing, but for the first time in years, his dinner was no longer cold dishes served by his private chef. Over the next few days, Daniel gradually realized that Olivia's presence had changed the rhythm of his life. Not only did she make his apartment warmer, she also changed the way he felt about the life around him. He came home earlier than usual. He began to notice the little things: a hot cup of coffee every morning, a newspaper neatly placed on the table, a slight smile from Olivia as she looked out the window. But even though he realized that, Daniel still denied all the feelings that were gradually growing inside him. He told himself she was just a temporary guest. In a month she would leave. But do you really want that? As time passed, Daniel began to realize that Olivia's presence had become a part of his life. At first, he told himself that letting her stay was just a temporary obligation. But with each passing day, the little things she did seemed to seep into the deepest corners of his heart. Daniel used to work late, and his penthouse was often shrouded in dark silence. But now, when he returned home, he no longer entered a cold space. The living room lights were always on, a simple but warm dinner was always ready on the table, and sometimes Olivia would sit by the window, waiting for him to return. He didn't say it, but he changed his habits. He left the office earlier, declined unnecessary social appointments, and even tried to talk to Olivia more. "How is your job search going?" he asked one morning as they were having breakfast. Olivia looked up from her coffee, a hint of surprise in her eyes. "I've been interviewing at a few places," she replied, "but it's not easy without a permanent address." Daniel was silent for a moment. Olivia had never complained about her circumstances, but he understood the hardships she faced, and it bothered him in a way he had never experienced before. "Where do you want to work?" he asked again. Olivia smiled, but that smile couldn't hide the bitterness in her eyes. "Anywhere is fine, as long as I can start over." Daniel didn't say anything, but from that moment on, he decided he would help her find a job. One evening, Olivia left the building to go to a coffee shop that was hiring. It was a simple job, but she hoped it would be a chance to earn money and be independent. The New York night was colder than usual, and Olivia pulled her old coat tighter as she walked through a deserted alley. But as she turned onto a side street near her workplace, she sensed someone following her. Before she could react, a rough hand grabbed her arm. "Hey, girl, where are you going in such a hurry?" A rude voice rang out. Olivia jerked her hand away, but the stranger quickly pushed her against the cold brick wall. She panicked, her heart pounding. "Let go of me!" she screamed, trying to struggle. The man sneered, his eyes full of menace. "Don't waste your energy. No one here will help you." But he was wrong. A second later, a powerful punch landed straight on his face, sending him staggering to the ground. Olivia was stunned to see Daniel standing there, his cold gray eyes filled with anger. "Damn," the man muttered, trying to get up, but Daniel didn't give him the chance. He threw another punch, this time so hard that the man groaned and ran away. Daniel turned to Olivia, his eyes still flashing with anger. "Are you hurt?" His voice was low and urgent. Olivia shook her head, still in shock. "I'm okay." But Daniel was not convinced. He gently took her wrist, checking for bruises. Olivia felt the warmth of his hand, a stark contrast to the cold of the winter night. "You shouldn't go out alone at night," he said, his voice more stern. Olivia bowed her head, knowing he was just worried. "Sorry," she said softly. Daniel clenched his jaw but said nothing more. Instead, he gently draped his coat over her shoulders and led her home. When they returned to the penthouse, Olivia realized that Daniel was not completely unscathed from the fight either. "You're hurt," she said, her eyes worried as she saw the cut on his cheek. Daniel absently touched the wound, as if only now realizing it. "Just a scratch," he said, but Olivia was already going to get the first aid kit. "Sit down," she ordered, her voice firm. Daniel raised his eyebrows but obediently sat down. He didn't understand why he listened to her so easily. Olivia gently wiped his wound. The gentleness in each gesture made Daniel feel a little strange. "Why did you do that?" she asked softly. Daniel looked her straight in the eyes. "Because I don't want to see you get hurt." Olivia paused. Her hand that was applying the ointment also paused for a moment. A wave of emotions surged through her, but she didn't know how to express it. Daniel felt it too. A moment of silence stretched between the two, only their eyes meeting in the quiet space. Then, as if by reflex, Olivia gently placed the bandage over his wound, her fingers lightly touching his warm skin. Daniel didn't take his eyes off her. He felt his heart beat faster than usual. He didn't want to admit it, but perhaps Olivia had begun to occupy a special place in his heart. After the attack, Daniel became more protective of Olivia than ever. He asked her not to go out alone at night, always checked to see if she had eaten properly, and even took the initiative to help her find a suitable job. Olivia, despite keeping her pride, couldn't deny that Daniel was becoming more and more interested in her in a special way. Sometimes, she caught his eyes lingering on her longer than usual, or the small but warm gestures he gave her. But at this very moment, when everything seemed to be going in the right direction, an unexpected event broke everything. That day, while Olivia was preparing dinner in the kitchen, the doorbell rang. Thinking that Daniel had returned early, she happily went to open the door. But the person standing in front of her was not Daniel. It was a beautiful, elegant woman, dressed in an expensive designer dress. She looked Olivia up and down with an appraising gaze before giving a meaningful smile. "You are Olivia, right?" Olivia was a little wary. "Yes, you are?" The woman curled her lips and walked straight into the house without being invited. "I'm Emily Carter. I used to be Daniel's fiancée." Olivia felt her heart skip a beat. Emily glanced around the penthouse, then smiled faintly. "It's amazing that a homeless girl can live in this house." Her voice was full of sarcasm, and Olivia immediately sensed the other party's intentions. "I don't understand what you mean." Olivia kept her cool. Emily shrugged. "I just want to give you a piece of advice. Daniel is a man of power and prestige. There's no way he could truly love someone like you." Olivia clenched her fists, but kept her composure. "Do you think I'm here to take advantage of him?" Emily laughed. "If not that, then what? Do you think someone like Daniel could actually love a homeless girl?" Those words were like a knife cutting deep into Olivia's heart. She never thought that she and Daniel could truly belong together. The gap between them was too great, and now Emily's words only confirmed it. Emily stepped closer to Olivia, lowering her voice. "If you really care about Daniel, it's best for you to leave. Daniel doesn't need a burden like you." That night, Olivia thought for a long time. What Emily said wasn't entirely wrong. Who was she? A girl who lost everything, with nothing in her hands. Meanwhile, Daniel was a rich CEO, someone who could have anyone he wanted. She couldn't be the one to make him laugh or become a burden on his life. Early the next morning, before Daniel woke up, Olivia packed her luggage. She left a letter on the table. "Daniel, thank you for everything you have done for me, but I can't stay here anymore. We belong to two different worlds, and I don't want to be a burden to you. I used to think I could start over from zero, but the truth is, I can never reach your world. Forget me. Olivia." Then she quietly left the penthouse, carrying a painful heart. Daniel woke up in the morning and walked out of his room in a good mood. But when he entered the living room, he immediately felt something was wrong. The apartment was eerily silent. There was no smell of coffee, no sound of Olivia's footsteps. His intuition told him that something was up. He looked around, then his eyes stopped on the letter on the table. His heart beat fast as he picked up the paper and read it. The more he read, the more anger flared up in his heart. Did she think she could leave without saying a word to him? Do you think he will accept this? Daniel threw the paper down on the table, clenching his fists. He was not stupid. He knew something was wrong. Olivia changed his life, made him feel things he never thought he could feel. And now she was leaving so suddenly? He wouldn't let her disappear that easily. Daniel immediately asked his assistant to investigate everything about Olivia's past. And when the results came in, he could hardly believe his eyes. Olivia is more than just a homeless girl. She was once the daughter of the Reed family, a wealthy and prestigious family. But after a huge financial scam, her family lost everything. Her parents died in debt, and she was left on the street with nothing. Daniel felt his heart tighten. She went through all that, but never told him. She was not someone who took advantage of him. On the contrary, she had endured so much pain without once complaining. And now he let her leave without doing anything? Or not? Daniel clenched his fists. He will find her, no matter what. Daniel searches for Olivia in vain. Since the day Olivia left, Daniel has not been himself. Every day that passed, he wondered where she was, if she was okay, if she had eaten enough, if someone was bullying her. The emptiness in the penthouse drove him crazy. No more her gentle laughter, no more the smell of baked goods every morning, no more the times she quietly took care of him when he worked late. Daniel sent people to search everywhere, but it was as if she had evaporated from this world. There was no trace, no news, not a single message. He couldn't believe he let her go like that. For the first time in his life, Daniel Carter, a powerful, cold man who once thought love was just a frivolous thing, realized that he could not live without Olivia. She is not a stranger. She is the one who gives meaning to his life. And now that she was gone, he realized how important she was to him. A month later, Olivia returned. That evening, Daniel attended a major business event. It was an important party, gathering big shots in the financial world. But his mind was completely off the conversation. He only came out of duty, but his heart was still stuck somewhere, where Olivia used to be. Until a soft voice rang out from afar. "Hello, Mr. Carter." Daniel was stunned. That voice. He turned around, and in that moment, the whole world seemed to stop. Olivia stood before him, but she was no longer the homeless girl she was a month ago. She was wearing an elegant evening gown. Her hair was neat. Her eyes were determined and radiant. She looked more beautiful and strong than ever. Daniel felt like someone was squeezing his heart. "Olivia." He called her name softly, as if afraid that if he spoke any louder, she would disappear. Olivia smiled. "Long time no see." Daniel clenched his fists, trying to control his emotions. Where did you go?" She smiled softly, her eyes shining with determination. "Find yourself again." It turned out that after leaving, Olivia was determined to start over. She found a small job and gradually worked her way up. Thanks to her perseverance and talent, she was accepted into a financial company, where she could use the skills she had when her family was wealthy. Over the past month, she has proven that she can stand on her own 2 feet. And today she returns, not as a girl in need of pity, but as a strong, independent woman. Happy ending. Daniel looked at Olivia for a long time. Over the past month, he had thought of 1,000 things he would say if he found her. But now, as she stood before him, all those words disappeared. There is only one truth left. I love her. It doesn't matter who she was, who she is now, or what she will be in the future. He just knows that he can't lose her again. Without another moment's hesitation, Daniel stepped forward and took Olivia's hand. In front of everyone at the party, he looked straight into her eyes and said, "I love you, Olivia." The whole room fell silent. Olivia's eyes widened, not expecting him to confess his love to her right now, right here, in front of so many powerful people in the city. Daniel squeezed her hand tighter. "I don't care who you were or who you are now. I just know that I don't want to live without you. Come back to me." Olivia looked into his sincere eyes, and her heart felt like it was bursting. Every moment of separation, every pain she endured, none of it mattered anymore. She couldn't deny her feelings any longer. Olivia smiled slightly and nodded. Yes. The whole hall burst into applause. Daniel didn't hesitate another second, pulling her into his arms, hugging her tightly as if afraid she would disappear again. Finally, after so much pain and misunderstanding, they found each other. No more distance, no more painful past. Only love remains, and a happy future, which they will build together.